Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Rule the Waves for yet another one of our videos on this Let's Play. It is I can't look at dates and speak. It's November of 1910. We've been at war with France for 9 months there. You can see we're almost at war with Germany, and we've got elevated tensions with both Britain and Russia. Our current military budget is in the negative by about 3.3 million, but we've got an adequate budget of 56 million left over in unallocated funds, basically just extra money that we can fund a deficit for a while with. You can see our military budget's almost 300 million, but we're still far less than anybody else, with the exception of Italy. And we are currently constructing 3 battle cruisers, all overseas, being built by the United States. Our dockyards aren't quite big enough yet to build them domestically, although that'll change soon. We should be up to 26,000 tons, so we should be able to start building our own dreadnoughts here before too long, probably after this war. When you look at France, it looks like we're dramatically outmatched, although at least in the case of what's deployed in Asia, we sank a heavy cruiser of France in Northeast Asia, and it looks like they may have one more heavy cruiser in that region, if that wasn't the one we sank. Outside of that, they don't have anything. They do have some forces in Western Africa. You can see they've got 4 battleships there. We have nothing deployed to Western Africa, despite our own colony there. That colony has, I believe its cruiser was sunk in an engagement. In this war, we lost a light cruiser, but we also managed to sink an enemy heavy cruiser. So, let's see here. Yeah. So if we look at the description here, we'll see that it was sunk in a battle with the French. It's our only ship lost in the war so far. We just had an engagement where we sank a heavy French cruiser. So you can see here we're winning in the victory points war thus far. But really, that's all we have here for this turn. So let's go ahead and jump ahead. So the enemy has sent out feelers through neutral nations about a negotiated peace without border changes or reparations. The Prime Minister wants to know our opinion. So we could go ahead and we could go for peace. What I would suggest is that we want to... I'd say, let's say the Navy can fight on if needed. In reduction, after the war, 2 AMCs have been sold off to civilian shipping companies. Lame. So now we've got a massive budget shortfall. I was hoping the selection that I picked would have resulted in continuing to fight unless we got some colonial possessions, but it looks like a peace treaty was agreed upon which no border changes. So on the positive side, we get to keep our Angolan colonies. On the negative side, well, we fought France and won 1 victory against them, and not much else happened. You can see here our budget's in trouble as well. We've got $7.8 million in the red. And I guess the decision needs to be made what we do next. What I would say first is I'd say let's go ahead and scrap some of these older ships. The Shakasima class, for example, is almost 10 years old now, and with the Dreadnought, I would say everything but 10 years old is certainly obsolete. So we're just going to go ahead and scrap them. You can see here we got some positive revenue, 1.3 million. We did save a little bit of money, but not a ton. Those ships, I believe, were largely non-commissioned. We've got some heavy cruisers here, but they were rebuilt only about 5 years ago, so I'd like to keep them in shape. Meanwhile, we've got some light cruisers here that are all about 10 years old. None of them have been rebuilt yet. So we'll go ahead and we'll scrap these guys. I believe they may also be mothballed, or no, actually they're active fleet. But we'll go ahead and we'll scrap them as well. Got about another million, saved about $1 million as well. So again, we're reducing our fleet pretty sizably at this point here. If it's not recently rebuilt, I'd say we'd want to scrap it. So the vast majority of our destroyer fleet, largely obsolete. We've got some new ones, so we should be okay if we go ahead and we scrap all of these old ones. 31 old destroyers, only saves us 300,000 per turn. Generates a little bit of money. If we look at the almanac now, after all of that scrapping, we still have 8 battleships in service, 6 heavy cruisers with 2 building, 5 light cruisers. That's definitely not sufficient in terms of light cruisers, but we still have 36 destroyers, which I'd say for our reduced fleet size is probably okay. We certainly want more, but yeah, that's roughly where we are. All of our ships appear to be in the active fleet. This brand new one is still working up. So another thing we can do is we can mothball ships to save some money. That puts them into kind of a reserve status. So we'll do that with our 4... well, we could really do that with all our heavy cruisers. I'd hesitate to do it, but we can base these light cruisers. Let's do that. All of our heavy cruisers we're going to mothball. Or 6 heavy cruisers, sorry, that we that are obsolete. So we're going to put them all on mothballs. It doesn't look like we can do that because they're not in our home area. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to move them to our home area, which is in Northeast Asia. And what's the map say? Looks like we've still got adequate ships. I'd say we'll move these 2 light cruisers to Southeast Asia, if only to counter the fact that we're withdrawing a lot of ships from Southeast Asia. Okay. Meanwhile, we're going to move all of our battleships back to home waters. They don't need to be in Southeast Asia. And leave those guys in West Africa. Our destroyer breakdown's okay. Okay, so we're going to move some of these guys around. I'd say we'll probably, once we get some of these battle cruisers that start coming into commission, then I'd also say that we're going to go ahead and put some of our other battleships in mothballs, or maybe even scrap some. It looks like we're still a few months away from that. 6 million, we've got a little bit less than 10 turns worth of revenue, which should be okay. Again, the building cost will dramatically drop once these are completed, so our money situation should start getting better as some of these ships are completed. Prime Minister floats the idea of a shooting competition for all ships in the Navy. He believes this will increase morale, combat readiness in the fleet. Holding such competition will substantially increase maintenance costs. Excellent idea. We've got some extra cash. The cruiser Kasagi, that's definitely not a light cruiser, has won the shooting competition. Cost us a fair amount of money, though. Okay, so let's see here. These heavy cruisers have all moved to Northeast Asia, so now we can go ahead and mothball them. So there you go. Drops cost by quite a bit. Now the quality of the crew is going to drop, but there's not much we can do about that. I'd like to build more modern ships. Right now our fleet is quickly growing obsolete. But right now we just don't have the money for it. One of our major arms manufacturers wants to enter a technology sharing agreement with a company in Russia. No. We're not going to allow them to enter an agreement with Russia. Maybe someone else, like Italy, but Russia? No. Okay, so we're 3 months away from finishing building Bear Docks. Meanwhile, we've got some other ships that'll be coming under construction soon. We're February of 1911. Fleet is growing more and more obsolete. Subdivision damage control. Okay, so new technological developments there you can see. Our new battlecruiser built in the U.S. has given us valuable insights into U.S. armor design and development technology. That's kind of awesome. As well as subdivision and damage control. So we have a new battlecruiser. We also have researched 13-inch main guns. Huzzah! Okay, so we have a battlecruiser. I don't even remember what the specs are on her. 10, 12-inch guns. You can see here two triple batteries forward, 2 dual batteries on the flanks of the ship. We've also since researched some super firing turrets, so we can start to build more traditional battleships here before too long. And you can see here that dramatically improved our financial position. Now that we have that ship completed, we've got another battlecruiser will be ready in 2 months. I'm going to go ahead and I don't want to mothball them. Wait one more turn. New docks completed. Scientists advance in hull control, hydraulic riveting, weight savings. So we now have homegrown docks of 26,000 tons. It's not enough. So we're going to spend $3.2 million again on building even bigger docks. It'll take another year, but we've got to keep expanding those docks because technology is rapidly demanding bigger and bigger ships here. But we could build our own battle cruisers of the Naga class now that we've completed that. We're going to go one more turn just to get us that new battle cruiser completed. So the Naga's commissioned into the Navy. So we now have 2 modern battle cruisers. If we take a look at the Dreadnought race, you can see we have 2 in service. Germany has 2 battle cruisers, but they also have 3 battleships that they're building. So they've got 2 done, 5 total under construction. The British have 2 done with 3 more building, so they'll have 5. The French have 3 total building, so they'll have the same as us right now. We actually have bigger ones, though, at 75,000 tons. The Russians are only building 3, again, all battle cruisers. The U.S. is building a total of 6, not in commission yet. Italy is building 4 between battle cruisers and battle ships, with 2 in commission already. So, that's good. Now, I'm thinking, just looking at this here, we're going to have a decent amount of battle cruisers, but again, our heavy cruisers were far behind. Our light cruisers were definitely far behind. Now, the interesting thing is in this era, the heavy cruiser almost dies as in World War I. You see a lot of heavy cruiser development up until the Dreadnought. And then when the Dreadnought comes along, you don't really see a whole lot of heavy cruiser development. That's because the idea is these battle cruisers come along and make heavy cruisers obsolete. Which is certainly the case. Like when you look at the Battle of the Falklands during World War I, where the old German armored cruisers get shot apart. It's interesting to me, the reason the heavy cruiser, the CA, the cruiser armored, comes back to being a relevant weapon again is largely because of naval arms treaties, which we don't have any in place right now. So I'm wondering if I should even develop any heavy cruisers, if I just stick to... I mean, if we look at these heavy cruisers, these guys were like 170,000 maintenance per turn. Obviously, the battle cruisers are more than double that. So you could maintain a force of heavy cruisers for far-off distant stations. And with the number of heavy cruisers that the enemies have in service, it certainly is something worth considering. But it might be best to use that money and develop it somewhere else. And just focus on maybe light cruiser development. Again, because the battle cruiser really does make the heavy cruiser obsolete if you're out and about and sailing it around. It depends how you use it. It depends on if you're using it as like a scouting or battle force ship, or if you're using it more for like traditional cruiser roles. But again, just it's worth keeping in mind that the only reason the heavy cruiser really came back was after World War I. You had these naval arms treaties which came in place, like the Washington Naval Treaty, and there were these treaty cruisers that were designed because we can't build battleships, so we've got to build these 8-inch, main-gunned heavy cruisers like the Exeter class or the Houston for the U.S., which really were kind of the new heavy ships because they couldn't build battleships anymore. And that's really where the heavy cruiser got its renaissance, or rebirth, if you will. I'm not aware of too many classes that came out during sort of the peak Dreadnought era that we're in right now. So I'm not sure if I'm going to build a new heavy cruiser class, but I'm definitely going to look at building a new light cruiser class. We need some submarines as well. So I think, looks like we only can build coastal subs. But I think if we build maybe 6 of them, based on our technology. So if we build 6 of them, it'll be 600,000 a turn. Takes 14 months. Actually, let's build 4 more. So we'll have a total sub force of 10 ships. So you can see their I's 2 through 11. I don't know what happened to I-1, but I-2 through 11, we're building 10 of them. Puts us back into the red, but not too bad. You can see some heavy cruisers. Looks like one will be done in 2 months. So once that's done, then we'll look at maybe building a new light cruiser class. Okay, so both our battle cruisers have finished working up and are now members of the fleet in good standing. The Navy League is complaining that we have too few battleships. Okay. So 5+inch centerline turrets. 5 or more centerline main turrets on ships. So that's actually a great technological development to have right before we look at maybe going and building some new battleships of our own. We'll go one more turn. Conservative newspapers are reporting that other nations laugh at our weakness in battleships. Anyway, so you can see that heavy cruiser was commissioned into the Navy. New heavy cruiser class, the Tsubuka class, 1911 was completed. You can see here it's got triple turrets in the front, and then it's got 18 9-inch guns. Wow. So it's a heavy cruiser per se. It'll blast any heavy cruiser out of the water, that's for sure. With, oh my goodness, 18 9-inch guns. I forgot how big we made that thing. That's German pre-Dreadnought battleships get blown out of the water by that. You can see here it costs $310,000 to maintain, though, which again is kind of the dilemma. It's like this thing has amazing firepower and it's got 25 knots of speed, but our battlecruiser is faster. Our battlecruiser has 7-inch armor, 3, 9, 4, 10, and the heavy cruiser has less armor. So the battlecruiser has more armor, heavier guns, a bigger broadside, fewer main guns, but still, 12-inch guns, 10 of them, versus 18 9-inch guns. So heavier guns, longer range, better speed. In all regards, it's almost a superior ship. This heavy cruiser is really only going to be ideal for distant stations. So I think when these two heavy cruisers are done, we'll probably deploy them to West Africa is kind of my thought. And then that'll kind of... Why can't I? Where am I? Anyway, so we'll deploy them to West Africa probably when they're both done, and then we'll keep our battle cruisers in close to the country. Now, if we look here, we've only got 8 battleships in service versus 20 plus pretty much everybody else. We do have 2 battle cruisers in the service when you compare that with everyone else. That ties us with the most in Germany. If you're going to include battleships in there as well, which I think you kind of have to, we're still tied with Germany, although they're building 4 more. We're still tied. We're 1 behind Britain. We're ahead of France, who doesn't have anything in service yet, though they're building 4. We're ahead of Russia, who has 3 they're building, but none in service. Ahead of the U.S., who has none in service, but they're building 6. Tied with Italy, who has 2 battleships in service, but they're building 2 more. So really, we need to build more battleships, but we also need some more cruisers and destroyers. Submarines, we've got 10 of them under construction. Another heavy cruiser, but it looks like 20 months away from the other battle cruiser being done. So I think what we're going to need to do is design a new full-fledged battleship. A domestic build would be my preference. 26,000 tons is probably the most. I'm not sure about the limitations, because this battle cruiser is 25,000 tons. It's kind of pushing the limit to have 10 guns. If we want bigger guns, I'd like 13-inch guns. I'd like to kind of max out here. You can see if we look at our naval guns, we've researched, but they're lower quality. Damn. I really wish we had bigger guns. I suppose we could build them in foreign yards, but that's not ideal. I'm not sure what we'll do. We need another battleship class. We may build them in foreign yards. We'll probably need we need 8 more months so we can make these bigger, but I suppose we could put a 4th order in for a Naga-class battlecruiser. And then we'll just build a domestic one in 8 months when that's done. Certainly keeping the American yards in business, though. Our own yards are suffering. Only 1 ship being constructed locally if you take out the 10 submarines. I'm not sure what we'll do yet. Anyway, guys, I think I'll cut this video off here. The next video, I think we need to kind of shift from the wartime, which is what I started this video with, into the peacetime, and probably designing some new capital ships, but it depends on where we go with this. I do want to mention that we're getting close to December, and if any of you saw my Operation Glacier trailer, I'm going to be starting a new series. I think what it's going to be is it's going to be kind of like a weekly series. Once a week, I'm going to kind of do a roundup of my War in the Pacific Let's Play that I'm going to be doing with Belugan campaign. It's actually already well underway. We're actually already into April. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having a website that has an interactive map that you can interact with. That's going to show all of the units on both the Allied and the Japanese side. There will be a login so you can view just Japanese, just the Americans, or Allies, not just the Americans. Or you can log in and view both sides. Belugan and I don't have access to the other side, and this website will allow you to see everything. If you're familiar with War in the Pacific, great. If you're not, it's a game that models every single ship, every single ground unit above like a battalion, every single air unit above a squadron, thousands and thousands of units, and you replay World War II 1 day at a time. Each turn represents 1 day of real life. It's as if you were in command of every little piece of the entire Pacific War. The Japanese, who I'm playing as the Japanese, even control their own production. The Americans have limited control over their production, and you fight the war out. Like I said, we're already into April of 42. I'm playing as Japan. I'm a novice. Any recommendations you guys can make would be welcome. Belugan and I have been playing at a very rapid pace that I'm very pleased with. We've been averaging over 2 turns a day, which is pretty cool considering, again, 1 turn a day means you're going to take over 4 years to play the whole war. But what we're going to be doing is going to be kind of cool. The website... And one reason we're so far ahead is because we wanted to build a buffer in case something happens. One of us has to take a couple weeks off or something like that. So basically what happens is every single day the website's going to update so that it'll show you a new day. So for example, the series will start on December 7th. I'll probably put a video up on December 7th as well. So the series will start December 7th with the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. And then on December 8th of 2015, you'll see the turn for December 8th of 1941. On December 9th of 2015, you'll see the December 9th turn of 1941, and so on and so forth. So every single real-life day that passes, the website will update with a new turn that's represented on this website. So the units will move throughout the map. You'll actually be able to post comments, things like that on the game if that's something you're interested in. And I'll probably make a separate video talking about this in more detail, but I think it's really neat. It's kind of an interesting idea. And then my plan is every week to release a actual video that just kind of recaps the week and what's gone on for the Japanese and their progress in the war. And if there's any big events, I don't know if you've been following me on Twitter, but I was kind of giving some spoilers about a very large carrier action which took place. But if there's any big events that occur, we may make some special videos or more common, more frequent videos. I don't know if Belugan's going to be doing quite as many videos. He has a lot more responsibilities right now. He's helping work on command, modern air naval operations, so I don't know how much time he has to make side videos. I know he'll be making some. I just don't know if he'll be releasing as frequent content as what I'm looking at doing. But either way, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Until next time, I hope we're going to continue this Let's Play of Rule the Waves. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.